D-A-D-D-Y. It's time for Daddy's Day.
Oh, that's so gross. That's more gross than how I want to start with the birth canal.
I'm Annie.
I'm Minty, and it's too late to restart this.
And this is FunUntitled, where we serve every podcast with an FU.
So, about a month ago, we did the best anime moms. And there's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of criteria. And
Is it because a bunch of manga artists are mama's boys?
Japan for the most part, respects their women in a way that most places don't.
In Japan, there's a belief that boys love their moms and girls love their dads.
I feel like that's kind of true in America, too. It's that Oedipus complex. But so, we're doing Father's Day, and we're doing it a little differently because, one, there's not a lot of good dads.
There's a lot of dads, just not good ones.
They are very absent, usually. And we just basically want to talk...
We tried to make a list, y'all. Just to let you know, we tried to make a countdown.
But they were too similar. They were way too similar.
And we only did 2.
Yeah. So we just want to talk about the best dad and the worst dad. And I think all the options are fair game for the categories that we're going to talk about. But we wouldn't have an episode if we just agreed with each other, so we're debating.
Debated.
So let's start with the worst dad.
Okay, yeah, sure. My top contender for worst dad, Gendo Ikari from Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm just gonna call it Neon Genesis. I don't know how to say the E word.
Evangelion?
Evangelion? Man, all those years of speech therapy down the drain. And this is my opening argument. He's a shitty dad because he never really loved his son. He left Shinji Ikari the minute the mom died and was like, bye, I'm gonna go clone your mom so that way I can actually be happy with someone I love. And the only time she ever asked for Shinji's back is to, yo, Shinji, get in the robot.
I was gonna say, your dad loves you. She get in the robot. That is, the YouTube title is 4Kids version of the opening. Go watch it. It's the funniest thing ever.
Asu Custom Germany, the creators of the holographic map.
You don't even have to know the show. It's just funny.
And everyone agrees there's a giant ass meme of Gendo being a shitty father. And when you first watch the show, it's kind of like, oh, Gendo's kind of a cold dude, but whatever. And then you realize what the ending is, and you realize this whole time he never got over his dead wife that he was partially to blame that he killed. And then it's like, okay, Gendo, get off of Shinji's ass. What's wrong with you?
Look, I'm not denying Gendo's a bad dad. I'm just kind of thinking there might be worse dads.
Alright, go, you're a contender.
So I have 2 contenders because we were talking about this, and I'm like, you know what? I'll bring up these 2. The first one I thought of was actually Ginfreaks from Hunter x Hunter. I can never pronounce that last name.
Ginfreaks.
Freaks? Okay, that just sounds weird. He is Gon's dad. He left Gon as a baby.
From Hunter x Hunter.
He left Gon as a baby, and was like, I just want to do my own life. And Gon, I'm gonna make it really difficult for you to find me. Because Gon had to become a hunter, he had to learn Nen, and the only hint that his dad gave him was, go play this video game that nobody can win, and you are most likely going to die. Which then was like, Gon does the impossible and beats the game, and has a 50-50 chance of being going to Gin or going to Kite, which Gon had no idea how it was gonna happen. And Gon had the worst experience of his life, and he loves Kite with all his heart, but man, the Chimera Ant arc fucked him up. And my second choice,
from a series that no one knows,
which everyone should, Wilk from Golden Kamuy, also known as Noparapo, which means no face. Noparapo is a half Ainu, half, I believe, Polish man?
Yep, his dad was Polish.
Who, we're not sure the exact story, but this is what we know so far. Who killed a bunch of Ainu people for gold, then went to jail and was like, I can't lead my people. My face was cut off and my tendons were cut, so like I'm like a cow that can't escape from the farm.
Jesus.
So I am going to get a bunch of prisoners, tattoo their bodies with a code of the map to the Ainu gold, but make it in a way where it's obvious you have to skin these criminals alive to get the map together.
No one said alive.
Of course you gotta skin them alive. Anyway, my story, okay? My story. And he did to 24 criminals. And then when the 24 criminals escaped, his basic plan is, a Sherpa, my daughter, you need to go find these these 24 criminals. Criminals! From one of the worst prisons in Japan at that moment. Find these criminals, skin them alive, figure out the map, find the Ainu gold, and use the gold to lead a war of the Ainu people against the Japanese government that's oppressing us and has the military might to wipe us out, but it's been, I wouldn't say kind, but just hasn't done it. So.
I feel like Minty just took this stance so we could have an episode, because if she honestly thinks either of those two is worse than Gendo, I just don't know what to do with her, because she has so many fallacies and holes in her arguments.
In all fair point, Gendo's probably the worst dad. But again, what would we be doing this for then? It's also funny to talk about it like that.
Because, first of all, in Golden Kamuy, the dad never actually had a plan for a Sherpa to get the criminals, because she didn't even know any of this existed. I'm pretty sure the dad told Higashikata, to go find all the tattoo criminals or the inmates. Or, no, I guess just keep them rallied, because I don't think he knew they was going to scatter. And then Higashikata, that's why he told Higashikata a Sherpa's name, the Japanese name.
Alright.
Yeah, so I think the original plan was that Higashikata was going to get all the tattoo skins, and then he was going to find a Sherpa to help him read the map. So it's not like he was throwing her into a lion's den.
Although he does want her to lead a war.
Yes. Which
is pretty fucked up.
But compared to Gendo being like, Shinji, I want you to get this robot with so much trauma, and this robot might be your mom, and we have to put you in a fluid so you can relive your life inside your mother.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes.
Oh, it's gross.
Everything about Neon Genesis is gross.
And the religious part is not technically supposed to be there, right?
The religious part is literally just to be edgy. There's no significant meaning behind crucifying Asuka.
It's just a big Oedipus complex.
Yeah.
Gross.
And then, it's funny because Gin and Hohenheim are both kind of shitty dads. They both left their sons for whatever reasons. But we don't really consider them as like the worst dad, only because their kids came out pretty alright.
That's because they had a strong mom figure in their life.
But, they did plan for that. Gin left his kid with his cousin that had a weird crush on him. And then Hohenheim, he knew that there was a mom there. I don't know if Hohenheim knew in the manga that the mom had a disease. No, right?
I don't think so, no. I think it just came later.
Okay.
And I think she agreed. She let him go, It wasn't like he abandoned her. Like, she was there saying bye to him.
Also, what an effort, tie a swing for those kids. And meanwhile, Shinji, we legit see the scene of Shinji crying as a child as Gendo left him at the equivalent of a bus stop. I don't even know what happened to the boy.
Does happen to him.
They don't really explain it.
Boy, they're really having that strong orphan feeling.
Oh, I love the meme that people also make of Shinji, if you don't get in the robot, I'm going to make this cripple girl who looks like your mom get in the robot.
Yeah, the scene that really always F's me up is when he sees his classmate almost die.
Yeah.
And then he's like, alright, I'll do what you want. I'm going to be traumatized for the rest of my life, but I'll do what you want.
What I don't get is that, there's a little off tangent. You know the MILF that took care of Shinji?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
you can't call her a MILF. She's only 26 or something, and she has no kids.
Well, okay, that's my argument here. A lot of people is like, oh, she's just a great mom figure to Shinji. And I'm like, no. She really wasn't. She drank beer in front of him. She didn't do any of the chores. She didn't really give a shit about his mental, emotionals.
Yeah, she's just doing her job.
Yeah.
She's like an older sister at best. But who hates him.
Yeah, then she made out with him.
Yeah, that made no sense.
It just happened. So, Neon Genesis is very interesting because it really is, you cannot watch that show if you're not a little bit broken inside, because you won't get all the emotional trauma.
It's interesting because most of coming out stories is meant for people of that age.
Yeah.
We saw it at that age, but we didn't get it. Only when we were older, we were like, oh, Shinji's not bitching and crying. He is has legitimate concerns about what the hell is going on.
Didn't my cousin was in a conversation something like, oh, you watched it when you was younger and you didn't get it, but then that's great because that wasn't meant for you as a child.
I have no idea.
Something like that, some kind of pretentious bullshit. Neon Genesis is the anime Rick and Morty. You need a certain IQ to get that.
Yeah, that show will fuck you up.
But yeah, that's, leave in the comments who you think is the worst dad. We made our arguments.
No parapo.
Also, I don't want any of this bullshit of Endeavor's the worst dad. Okay, he's at least the only dad who's trying now.
He's shitty, and that's all we can say.
That's all we can say, but we gotta see if the creator of My Hero Academia is doing that sweet redemption arc.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, English release. He got the scar now,
the redemption isn't there. Now let's go on to the fun of this show. The best dad.
I was going to say, finally, we're going into series that people know, but then, not really.
One's new, one's a classic, but not the biggest worldwide phenomenon. Well, I mean, it was worldwide. It was not a Naruto or Dragon Ball kind of fame.
Is it a cult classic?
I don't know if I would say cult, but...
Because Supernatural is considered a cult classic.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought here cult classic, it usually means it was kind of bad.
Oh, okay.
Like, Arrested Development has a cult following.
Got it. Now, we're gonna argue who had the best dad.
They're both fair answers.
Yeah, this one, unlike the shitty dad, I feel like I could go either way.
But let's put up my contender, the classic anime from Fullmetal Alchemist, the one you probably are all thinking about right now, Maze Hughes, who loved his daughter Alicia more than anything else because there's only two things you know about Maze Hughes. One, cares about everyone.
Yes.
Roy, Edward, Rinri, but most importantly, number two, he loves his family.
So much, he'll shoot a child.
Oh my god.
Sounds bad out of context.
What more context did you need than he would kill a child to protect his own? Because he does not want a 4-year-old hitting on his 4-year-old. He loves his wife, he loves his kid.
Oh my gosh,
won't shut up about them. Yeah, that was her 4th birthday party that Rinri attended. Has that cute moment, she's like, how old are you? She's holding up 3 fingers. Holds up 4. 4! And they're like, oh, it's so cute. He won't shut up about her. He made like a 30-foot tall picture of her to show everyone, to upshow the great Fullmetal Alchemist versus the Flame Alchemist, and almost died from that.
You think he threw that away, or do you think he put it in his house and the mom's like, Alicia, go to your father's last gift to you? And she's like, I don't want to. It's huge.
Oh, that thing can't go through the door. And if you don't know, Maze Hughes dies, and it's basically because he dies thinking about his wife, and the wife and child is extremely sad when they're at his funeral.
Oh.
And the not the funeral, the burial graving, the burial part. Oh my, that's so heart-wrenching.
It's funny because we watched that scene when we were kind of closer to Alicia's age. That's her name, right?
Yeah, like elementary school.
Yeah, so we're not, that far from 4. So, like, the thought of losing your father and watching them bury him.
Yeah, and Fullmetal Alchemist is one of the very first series we've seen and can remember. So, really fucked up a lot of things.
To be fair, a lot of my first animes should not have been watching as kids. I know it was Slayers, but that was only, like, partial. We watched Revolutionary Girl Utena, didn't get the lesbians on contact.
Still don't.
And then it was mostly Toonami shows.
Inuyasha.
Case Closed.
A little bit of Cowboy Bebop. A little bit of Big O.
Fully Cooley. Turns out only had 4 episodes.
I cannot believe that. For some reason, I just can't. A little bit of Samurai Champloo.
God, I hate that anime. I gotta rewatch that again one day.
Yeah, that show makes no sense. It's just from beginning to end makes no sense, but the aesthetics, that's great.
Oh, Glasses guy was hot.
Glasses guy?
I'm sorry, you like Steve Bloom's guy?
I don't like either of them.
Whatever. But yeah, so May Hughes was very tragic.
Super. Then you can go on with your option, which is a great choice.
My answer, from the titular manga no one knows, Dr. Stone. Now I will
That's not how you use that phrase.
I just want to use the word tit. Now, I know no one watched Dr. Stone because it's not that popular, so I will explain as best as I can. Main character is Senku Ishigami. He was adopted by a family friend named Byakuya Ishigami. I don't know why Senku took his last name. He had a really shitty parents, I guess. And so Senku was always fascinated with science and the moon, and he always had a drive for learning. So Byakuya, he sold his car, he used his entire savings to buy a lab for Senku to explore. And Byakuya knows how important it is to explore because he is a university teacher who wants to get into the NASA program, and Senku helps him in his little dumb kid ways. And eventually, Byakuya, he does go to the moon, but while he's in space, the entire world turns to stone, and he's only saved from it because he wasn't on Earth. So he finally crash lands on Earth in some kind of weird tropical island with his astronaut crew, and he's like, I believe with all my heart Senku will break out of this weird stone phenomenon and he will save the Earth. But he's gonna need help. So I'm going to recreate human civilization to help him out. And he starts fucking dude. And he makes a whole Ishigami village for Senku to help one day. And then he goes and spends his entire life collecting platinum for Senku. And there's a beautiful scene where like he's in his old age still collecting platinum. He's the only one alive from his astronaut crew at this point because 2 of them died out at sea, 2 of them died from TB or something.
Pneumonia.
Ammonia? Oh.
Pneumonia.
Oh, pneumonia is such a simple disease nowadays. That's so sad.
Oh yeah, that's the point, right? It's like a simple disease that you just get, and I mean, some people still die from it.
Oh wow. And then that American singer, there's just a scene of him holding her dead when like they're fairly kind of young.
Right.
So to collect platinum in this world, you have to basically pan for gold in the river. So in his old ass age, he's panning for platinum, which is like a 0.01% of finding in the sand. And all his kids are like, why are you doing this? You don't even know if your son's gonna come back. And Byakuya, he will because I believe in him. And his last dying breath is literally falling face first into the water because he's so tired from collecting all that platinum and he's old. And the last thing he thinks of is his boy Senku. And it's just like, he's basically spent his entire adult life thinking about Senku, despite the fact of not knowing if he'll ever meet Senku again. To the point where he makes a goddamn record just so Senku might have the off chance of hearing it.
There's also the fact that he passes on like oral stories that he wants to one day be passed on to Senku.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it's a small part in his story, that's why, but it's very powerful, I always thought.
So, May Hughes? Yeah, he's a great character, don't get me wrong. He loves his daughter. Can't believe she was only 4. But the things that Byakuya has done for Senku is like, just time-wise, was a lot more than 4 years worth of love. He sold his car, that was his baby.
You can feel the love that means Hughes. He was not in the show very long. I think he's in like very few chapters, a couple of episodes, but that's just like his main trait is his love for his family.
I think the problem with Byakuya is that, how do I say this without shitting on Dr. Stone? Because it really is a great series, it's just not the greatest. So like, even though Byakuya did all these things for Senku, and those little bonding moments of Senku trying to get Byakuya to learn how to swim so that way he could be accepted into NASA, there wasn't really a lot of moments between Senku and Byakuya. Because Senku's such a cold, aloof guy. Like, there's obviously different kinds of love. That was a very hard to read kind of love.
I guess it's more like there's different ways of expressing love.
Yeah.
It's the same love, it's just Senku is not the most emotional kind of guy. What also is kind of sucky is that a lot of things you know about Byakuya is through the spin-off.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean you're necessarily gonna read it, and who knows if they're gonna animate it. Because they should. It's actually really good. It's a lot to read.
It's a shit ton. If I had to read that damn robot explaining all the shit she's doing to keep that ship afloat again, I would just...
Now she became a lady.
I just skimmed it, man.
How dare you?
Not like the emotional part, the explanations.
How dare you?
It's just like...
Getting the ice? Because she needed water?
It's just a lot. And like the whole meteor hitting Earth.
The messes she made? We're getting off tangent. Well, I think her name was Rei.
Yes.
Like Shinji's mom. Pseudo mom.
Okay. No, I don't want to get into that. So yeah, leave in the comments if we was able to convince you if, this new guy from a manga you don't know is the best dad, or if we're gonna stick with Mei too. Or maybe put in the comments of literally any other good anime dad.
The only one that else comes to mind is like Minato from Naruto, right?
Not to punch the shit out of him.
Well, I mean, it's like a dream thing.
Okay, no dads that, died when the kids was young. I don't want Neji's dad on this list.
He was on the list.
Yeah, get him off of here.
Sasuke's dad died when he was young.
Okay, I will argue Sasuke's dad is not a good dad. But when Sasuke's dad said he was proud of Sasuke that one time, and I'm like, get that shit out of here. I think that man was planning a coup.
Yes, but for his son and family. It's just tough love, He was just a man of tough love. He never beat Sasuke. He never made him... I wouldn't say it was emotional abuse. Maybe just emotional neglect, more like it. But look how great Itachi came out. He figured he probably could have done it a second time.
I will never forgive Naruto for making a man a killer at the age of 4.
But we're not here to talk about Sasuke's dad. Just pick between Maze Hughes and Byakuya Ishigami.
I want to put a third contender. Me. One time I screwed in a screw really well, and I thought, yes, I can be someone's father.
I always redo them, right?